Right, so it is day 78 of my New Year's tree planting resolution thing, and it really looks like we're about to have a massive storm, so let's get on with this quickly. Right, so today's planting is one for whom you'll get a variable mileage in mixed plantings. So this is a Loquat tree. It is a wonderful little fruit tree with a fruit that I find is similar in taste to an apricot. That might be slightly biased because it's sweet, sourish, slightly firm-fleshed, orange, slightly fuzzy fruit with one or two stones. It's in its native environment. I would expect to be sort of edge of woodland. I'm not entirely sure, as I have never seen it growing wild, but I know that in places like the UK, it can grow in fairly open shade, but it does tend to suffer as it gets older in more dense shaded environments, whereas here it can really thrive in a sort of understory situation. It can etiolate if that gets quite dense, so if it's sort of under 2 layers of vegetation it can start to get very leggy, but under 1 layer of reasonably dense canopy it does much better than it does in full sun, and it fruits a lot quicker and takes a lot less water to get there. This one I'm not convinced is fully sun hardened. This is actually one I bought. I have propagated in the past, but this last time that my Loquat trees fruited, I wasn't here for the seed, so I don't currently have any seedlings ready for planting out. So I thought I'd add a little bit of genetic diversity by getting one from a nursery. It wasn't expensive, but I'm not convinced it's fully sun hardened. So I am going to give it quite a lot of shade by planting some of the sort of old favourites. So a Dracaena, a Fragrans and an Aloe arborescens sort of leaning over it, as well as a small cluster of Kalanchoe fetchinkoi, just to keep it from getting too heavily burned as it settles in. Right, so that should be everything for today. Thank you very much for watching. I am now going to get this inside before it actually starts raining. I'm very much looking forward to the rain, but I don't want my camera out in it. Right, so it might look like I have another little rodent stuck in a yogurt pot. This is actually a shrew in a bucket. Very different things. So this had fallen down a hole that's being dug for some foundations and was not able to get out, and eventually with the assistance of an aquarium net I managed to get it into this bucket. You can see I've given it some butter, and it's also enjoying a piece of chongololo that I had found in there that I put into the bucket with it, and that seems to have taken the edge off a lot. Shrews are really very high energy animals, and so they can starve to death really easily. It's not so bad for tropical ones generally, but a lot of ones in cooler environments, it does not take much at all for them to starve. And so I was hoping the butter would be a good little calorie boost, but he, or possibly she, I'm not very good at telling with a lot of small mammals, doesn't seem to have shown any much interest in it much, so I'm going to get them out as quickly as possible so that they can find something else to eat and something to drink, because they run on very high energy. It's also worth noting, shrews, not really closely related to elephant shrews or otter shrews or tree shrews. It's just a very popular body plan, so it turns up over and over and over again. You'll also see a lot of rodents and marsupials have a very similar body plan, but really aren't that closely related at all. These are most closely related to things like hedgehogs and Solenodons. Another fun thing about shrews, and I'm not sure which shrew this is, but quite a few of them are very mildly venomous, and some of them are the only mammals other than bats and humans to use echolocation on land. Not nearly so complicated as bats or dolphins use though.